Yo, what up, guys? Welcome back to On the Clock Basketball YouTube channel. We're working on another tier list today. This is kind of the part two to the previous one we did with the same set of prospects, kind of a little NBA 2023 NBA draft look ahead early on, some tier list stuff. How are we doing, Julian?
Doing good, bro. Been had some heated discussions today, but you
Yeah,
know what?
it's
I'm
been
ready to make
fire.
some tier lists.
I mean, we're recording this on August 25th. Chet Holmgren got hurt. Yeah, the news about him
Yeah.
kind of released today and more definitive stuff. But he got hurt like last week or so at the crossover with obviously LeBron kind of bodying him. But yeah, we're working on the tier list today. We are grading this one. The last one was more about like the basketball player they are right now and where they kind of stand in college basketball. This is more of like overall prospect rating and then like upside, you could say.
Yeah. Definitely not as much focused on proven commodities, more focused on how they're gonna be as
Definitely feel like
NBA
there's going to be more
players.
guys in the S, A, and B tier than
Yeah, I think that we the S tier guys that we had last week were more based on um how proven they were in college already. Where with these guys, I think it's gonna be a lot more where we think they can get to.
Yep, for sure. All right, this one's going to be an interesting one to start. Keante George. Go ahead, Julian. The floor is yours.
Well, so for those of you who don't know, pretty much only Caleb knows this. I am not very high on Keante George at this point in time. I do love his defense, but I think the scoring is very sporadic, and I don't think that he does a good job of leveraging his bounce to create shots. He doesn't do a great job of getting downhill, and I think that he's not a good enough facilitator right now. I think one of two things needs to improve with Keante George for me to put him in A or S tier. And that's either he needs to become a consistent shot maker when it comes to creating his own shot, or he needs to become a significantly better facilitator. So for me, he's probably in B tier.
I could get down with B tier. I think my evaluation is more towards A tier, but I can agree with the upper end of B tier. You listen to a lot of stuff that I have concerns about. I just am not as concerned about them as you because of the great jump shot that he's got and smooth stroke and his ability to heat up at a moment's notice. And he's not necessarily a liability on the defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, I think A tier, low A, I either low A tier or high B tier. I think
I
for
like low
Keante
A
George.
tier to preface it.
Well, fine. We'll put him. We'll smack him in A tier for now, but I think that's liable to change.
We'll see. All right, Cam Whitmore. This is one of my more exciting guys. I think, you know, really the thing with Cam Whitmore is going to be an S tier for me. And I think that you'll agree with what we've talked about. This is a guy who, before, really like 16 months ago was primarily a prospect that was, his hype was surrounding his athleticism, his ability to dunk the ball. And he had quite an NBA ready body. Now coming to Villanova at 6'7", 232, we see this offseason he's put on some more weight, bulking up a little bit more. He's going to be a powerful finisher. And you saw at the FIBA U18s, he has improved his jumper a lot. And I think that that's something that with his upside, you got to be excited about with the combination of just like scoring prowess in the interior with a smooth stroke from the outside. He's a really exciting prospect.
Yeah, for me, I think that his two biggest concerns are things that Villanova does a really good job of making the best out of, which are his three-point shooting and his defensive ability. Like everything else, I think he's pretty proficient in. So I think that Villanova is probably the best place he could have gone in terms of his development.
I agree.
So for that reason alone, I think he's already probably high A tier for me. But the fact that he's going to a school that's probably going to do the best of improving his weaknesses, that's what puts him in S tier for me.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Amin Thompson.
No, this is Asar.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
I thought it was. I thought it was.
I
Okay.
got Asar's in the overtime gear.
Uh,
Amen is yeah.
so I'm in. I don't like as much as his brother. I'll just preface that, but an exciting prospect nonetheless. With explosive athleticism. We're just not high on the overtime league guys.
Yeah, no, see, the thing with the Thompson guys, I think this is more of an issue for Amen than it is for Asar, but just like the offensive versatility, I think, is a big
Not really
issue.
there. I think if they play guard, and if Amon can, shore up a lot of the ball handling stuff and really become a dynamic playmaker in the pick and roll, then he'll have
Yeah,
in the league. Maybe he might be a safer long term prospect than Usar, but Usar has shown the ability to create off the balance a little bit and has
yeah.
some slight flashes of mid range jumper. And Amon's free throw shot is completely broken, to be honest.
I think defensively they're very similar, but
Yeah,
the
they're
big
both good.
difference
Yeah,
between the two of them is that Amen struggles to create a bit more offensively than Asar does. Like Asar's crossover is better, Asar's burst is a bit better. And again, you highlighted the free throw shooting and jump shot in general. Like,
I think a lot more people are excited about Amon because from what I've seen, is because of the point guard aspect, and I just see him more as they're both their highest upside being as dynamic scoring versatile guards. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think I'm a lot higher on them defensively than I am offensively. I
Yeah,
think they're low B tier guys for me.
yeah,
You have them B tier?
low B tier. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just hope
I
one of them can have like a Jalen Brown type of career.
yeah, I could see that as well. Where the offense develops as they get into the NBA.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think there's a good chance that a team. I think one of them will go in the top five. That's kind of my theory.
I don't like having them in the I mean, we both have them barely in the top 10.
I don't think I have either of them in the top 10. I might have one of them at 10, but like
Yeah.
I can see other teams getting excited and willing to gamble on that. And I don't doubt the upside. I just doubt their development so far and how strong it's been.
I mean, we'll talk about this more with Asar, the development in OT, I think.
Okay. Jaquavion Smith, this is a guy I'd probably put in S tier.
I'd put him in high A tier. I'm not as high on the defensive upside as you are,
Sure.
I don't
I can respect. I just got a little excited there. I love
think.
yeah. I mean a dynamic bucket getter. One of the most confident shooters in the whole country for sure. So I'm excited to see him get buckets again at NC State this year. That's really all I have to say about it. I'm fine with the high A tier.
Yeah, I mean he's a microwave scorer and I think he's better than Keante George at what he does.
Here's the Usman Dieng of this draft.
Yeah, I love that. Well, is Baba a good passer?
Yeah, he's dynamic with the off the bounce. He can do a lot of things. I don't know if he's as good as a passer as Dieng, but he's a better shooter than Dieng. That's kind of the trade off there. And they both bring the same defensive upside. It's just like they show flashes of weak side run protection, and they're both long and they're good athletes. Baba's probably for me, I'd say he's A tier. I think with the shooting upside, you have to be excited about him as a prospect long term, but doubt a lot of the things that he's got. I'd say higher than Keante George.
Yeah, I haven't watched enough of Baba, but from the flashes I've seen, the
He could be
length
really
and
enticing.
versatility
He
are
could be really enticing.
hmm?
He could be an enticing prospect late in the process.
Yeah, I think he's probably gonna end up mid lotto, like in that 12 to 15
I could
range.
see he's gonna have to prove a lot for me to get him there in my wherever I have him, but I could see him in the 20s. I think that's a justifiable spot for him right now. But at eight,
Trevon Brazil.
yeah, there's a guy that I think is gonna be above Keante George as well, for me at least. I don't know where you're at, maybe B tier, but um, I think with the combination of his athleticism and his motor, it gets me really excited about.
Um, the thing with Trevon Brazil, which I don't think we'll see a lot out of given the guys around him, is I do want to see some sort of outside shooting. But
Yeah,
again, given the fact that he's playing with Nick Smith, Anthony
jumper's
Black,
not broken. His jumper's not broken by any means.
and I think that with the guys around him, they're not going to really rely on him to have that much outside shooting.
He's gonna be a dunker, and he's gonna
So yeah,
play spot, and he's gonna thrive there. And I think he could have Robert Williams type upside because he's a great rim protector.
well, it's funny that you mentioned
Yeah,
Robert
I know. It's
Williams
another guy
type
that say, and I'd say
upside
that's
because
that might be top of A tier.
we got Deron Holmes next, who again, most people are not as high on as we are, I don't think. Like
No, I think a lot of people haven't really caught on yet.
No, and I think that what you need to know
This is
about Duran Holmes,
it'll be coming out in a couple weeks, like a week or two. So
it
people
will,
will
but
know soon.
I think that we should just mention what we like about him, and that's the fact that he's really quick. Like
The defense is there. He does everything that defensively you have to preface that.
he's a mobile big, he's a willing screen setter, high motor, and the jump shot isn't broken. I we talked about Robert Williams with Trevon Brazil. I think that for
It's
Duran
more
Holmes,
realistic.
his top end upside is very realistically Robert Williams in the way that he's utilized.
Yep. I like it.
But
I think
by the
more
way,
offensive stuff.
unrelated, I've gotten Nate on the Duran Holmes train.
Oh, good.
Yeah, man.
Good. Love to see it.
Yes,
Uh,
sir. Damian Collins.
Damon Collins. I think this is gonna be around the Thompsons. I'm excited about him. I think um he might he might be a little bit lower because he did spend a year at Kentucky last year, didn't get a lot of minutes, but he has come out and shown a lot of improvement with his jumper. That's always been kind of there. He just gives me Isaiah Todd vibes. That's all it is.
Well, Isaiah Todd wasn't really a NBA player.
Exactly what I'm saying.
I
So I think he's going to thrive off his athleticism. He's going to be a great prospect. But I'm excited to see him watch. If I'm just skeptical, that's why I put it in the B tier because the jumper is there a little.
I'd put him below the Thompson twins then because
Yeah,
I think the Thompson twins have a lot more upside in that
he's a
sense.
dynamic athlete. Probably going to be a top five athlete in the country.
That's fair, but I mean there's a lot of those guys that don't really pan out, you
Yeah,
know?
sure. So
Yeah.
B tier safe.
All right.
Brandon
Who's
Moore, Alabama. He's kind of a do it all wing. His upside's really high because of his he's got great touch and he's got some pretty good shot making ability in the mid range, which is uncommon in prospects. Honestly, this time this time of basketball, really with the way development's going on, it's more geared towards a 3 point shot. So I think he brings a rare little bit of shot making in the mid range, which gives him high upside as a pick and roll player from the wing spot with his size. So I think somewhere in the A tier, maybe above Baba Miller and Turquavion even.
you have a move up Turk?
Yeah, I genuinely think that he's got the offensive upside and he's got a much more rounded out interior game than Turquavion and the jumper, just the outside shot needs to be there.
Mm-hmm. Derek Lively, I've got Lively in low S tier.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think he's a more complete big than Duran Holmes, partially because of his body, but also he's got a lot of length. He has more of a jump shot than Duran Holmes does.
He can
And
knock it down.
it seems like his motor is a lot higher than a couple of other big men on this list.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'd have him below Cam. Um, but definitely I think we have him as probably a top five pick, right?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, he'll probably get there.
All right, Tariq White had an interesting one.
Go ahead. This is all you.
Well, so Tariq as a prospect reminds me a lot of Jabari Smith, just the way that he gets off his jump shot.
We talked about that in the last one.
Yeah, we did talk about it in the last one, but I think that that's kind of the big draw with him. And I think again, I hate to bring up the same thing I brought up in the last one, but I think great as a shooting guard because I think he's got the capability to play off ball. But if you're listing him as a forward, he's undersized. And again, like the Thompson twins are 6'7" and they're better defenders than he is. I don't think he offers significantly more if he's a forward. As a guard, I think that he's S tier.
Yeah.
Let's call him a guard. I think that in general,
Defense is
because
there.
we believe that his best outcome is as a guard, I think we should call him a guard.
Yeah. His defense is undeniable as his safest trait, and the shot making will have to see
Yeah.
how it translates.
I think he also provides a lot of value because he's able to play off ball
Yep.
and is willing to play off ball.
Yeah, he's a superstar. He's gonna be a superstar in college for sure.
Yeah, definitely, especially for Duke. GG Jackson up next.
Um, I mean, a dynamic athlete. You're talking about a guy who really has two-way dunker spot potential. Like he's gonna be a freak. He can definitely take it off the bounce to the rack. push the ball in transition. His defense is really exciting. I think that's where a lot of teams are going to be enticed, and that's where South Carolina was, dragged him away from UNC, and they're really excited about building their defense around him. So he's going to get a lot of touches. I think as a prospect, he's going to be somewhere in around Keante George, Trevon Brazil area because of that defensive upside. I think he really could be one of the better defenders in this draft. I think he's
I'm
definitely a one and done type of guy.
I'm gonna put him ahead because the fact that he's going to South Carolina, he's probably gonna be the guy. So I think he's gonna get a lot more recognition than a guy like Keante George or Trevon Brazil, which have like their positions are pretty crowded, right?
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, Baylor has a crowded backcourt. So
Yeah,
if
and
Keontae George isn't playing well, he's not going to play that much.
right. And with Trevon Brazil, there's probably three guys on this list who we think are gonna be the one, two, three options.
Yeah, and I mean, but I'm not worried about playing time with Trevon Brazil. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not worried about playing time, but
I'm
just in
worried about
general
playing
with
time with
the
Keontae George.
yeah, fair.
All right, Nick Smith, bro. Nick Smith
Uh,
has got to be above Derek Lively. I mean, you
yeah,
want to talk about a complete score, and we were talking about before this call a little bit about Bradley Beal, and this is a guy who has that same type of on-ball dynamic scoring output capability. For me, that's what I see. And the shooting's there, and I think coming in the league, he's definitely going to be one of the better shooters in this draft. He's got incredible range. At 6'5", he could be a true combo guard, but I mean, if he really shores up some of that playmaking stuff, I don't know if he's going to get as good of a chance next to Anthony Black at Arkansas, but to show some of that playmaking stuff in the pick and roll, because I think he could really be a dynamic scorer because he can get downhill too, and he's not
yeah.
afraid to get up and jump with somebody and or lay in some nice acrobatic layups. I like him
He's
a lot.
he's a complete scorer coming into college.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably the most complete incoming freshman if I had to,
Yeah,
go out of the bunch.
yeah, and he can defend. He's a willing defender.
Yeah.
He can throw on the straps, bro.
Khalil Ware.
I like Kalel a lot. I think as a prospect, he's great because he's got the shooting upside. But I mean, in reality, right now, as a player, I don't think he's there. But I think he's still an A-tier guy. I think my evaluation on him is similar to yours of Keante George or high B tier. I have him above the Thompsons though, in terms of my
Uh,
perspective outlook.
anyone with motor concerns, I have trouble putting in A
Fair
tier.
enough. If you want to put him above Damon Collins, I'm not concerned about the Thompsons motor, I guess.
I guess I put him below Asar. I'm trying to. I think Asar is probably going to be low A tier.
Yeah, probably.
Um,
Dylan Mitchell, this is probably around the same spot as Claw, where similar type of
I
stuff. You don't like him even
I have him in C
the
tier. He's just
offensive the stuff is that bad.
the offensive stuff is so limited. He's shown me
I'm in C tier
nothing.
then. C tier, he's a great athlete.
He's a like I don't under to be honest, like the ESPN top 100 in draft guys, I'll have him top 5 in the draft. I don't see anything from him offensively that tells me that he's even a top 10 draft pick at this point.
Yeah, I agree from that standpoint. I think he could be a guy that may spend a second year at Texas. Um,
Yeah.
Leaky Black, he's probably around C or F tier. He cannot do anything on offense, but he might get drafted just based off defense.
I mean, he's a very high impact defensive player, but like he he offers less than Dylan Mitchell does offensively.
Yeah, it's
So
true.
like I don't know. Like I've seen him hit a three and it's not pretty. But I've also seen him have like multiple possessions in a row where he gets a block.
True.
I'm gonna put him ahead of Dylan Mitchell just because I think they're similar players, and
I'd rather have Leaky Black than Dylan Mitchell if I'm drafting and
that's
one of
kind
the
of my point.
yeah. And I mean this early on we only work with what we know right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jordan
Walsh,
Walsh.
this is a guy I'm super pumped about, and I might talk him up towards the Baba Miller range defensively and in terms of his two-way impact. Um, he's a willing passer, a dynamic on ball creator for his size. I mean, he's like 6'7", 6'8", well built, and he is a hard nosed player. He's gritty and gets after it. He gets boards. I anticipate him being one of the most impactful defensive players and offensive players in the country just because his work on the glass and in the lanes, and he does everything well on the defensive side because of his athleticism. He is one of those guys again, top 10 athlete in this class, probably.
Very good third option on that Arkansas team.
Yeah, his ultimate upside, and this is extremely optimistic, but some of his stuff, um, gives me a little bit of like Dennis Rodman vibes and a little bit stuff. Um, but I think he's a better offensive player than that already, and I don't think he's going to be that dominant of a rebounder. But some of the just diving for plays and just the way he throws his body around is really he's a throw it back type of player on the defensive end.
It's interesting because I would actually compare this next guy, Oscar Tshiebwe, more to Dennis Rodman.
Fair enough. I mean, I think a Shrive is more of like a Zach Randolph type of guy.
Fair. I don't think he's as polished offensively. That's the thing
Zebo
is like,
coming in wasn't as Zebo was coming in was it was good offensively, but he was putting
but
up more
like
numbers.
the like
Combination
for
of
a
the
guy
glass.
like Rodman, a majority of his impact on the floor was the rebounding and just the hustle on defense. And I think Shibwe provides a lot of that.
Fair enough.
Um,
I I can understand it.
I think he's a
You
low B
guys are
tier guy
prospect. Yeah,
because I think
you
with
think
his height, I
I was
think
gonna say
it's
C tier. I was gonna say he's the king of the C tier.
that's fair. I can respect that. I had him low B tier, but I can understand him being a high C tier.
I think just because he's older player and doesn't have as much upside because of some of the height limitations, like you were about to get at. Um,
Yeah. I think the rebounding is gonna translate, but
yeah, I think he'll
I
be a
just
valuable player in the G League. Or
he gives
or
me, you know who he reminds me of a bit?
hmm.
Trez
He's
Harrell.
got I mean, if he can have a career like that, that'd be really great.
I think that's kind of
That's his ultimate
if you're
upside.
drafting him,
I
that's
like
kind of
that.
what you're hoping
That's
for.
a good one. Julian Strother, I think this is a B tier guy. He's definitely going to be that middle, maybe above Damian Collins. He does a lot of things that, or maybe even Kalal Ware too.
Yeah, I'd put him up to where.
I don't know. We need to get some more Julian Strother film or whatever.
Yeah, it's tough because he was kind of in a minimized role at Gonzaga because they primarily operated through those two bigs.
Yeah, he's a guy that you
Um,
get to watch him much on ball.
so it'll be interesting to see how much.
But he's got
I
he's
mean,
got
Timmy's
good
coming
intangibles.
back.
He's got good
What?
intangibles and does a lot
Yeah,
of things and does a lot of things well.
definitely. And it'll be interesting to see if how much more action on ball he gets considering that Holmgren's gone, or if they still majority of the time operate through Drew Timmy.
Yep. All right, Hood Schifino. This is probably um I don't know. Where do you think around Dylan Mitchell ish?
Okay.
I think
If
he's
we're
another guy
talking
that's
about
spending
this
in
year,
second year.
I don't think that what?
He's a spending. He's going to be a sophomore next year. He's going to come out as a sophomore.
Yeah, so I think for that reason, I think we like Hood Schifino,
Yeah.
but we don't think he's NBA ready.
No, not at all. He needs a
So for that
time.
reason alone,
But the way that he plays the game is really really exciting because he makes some plays that are super smart, and then sometimes you're like, gosh, why?
yeah, he makes a few head scratchers in there. Scoot
Scoot,
Henderson.
this got to be up there with Whitmore. I know that you'd put him um at the top. Tell us what you got. You love Scoot. You've loved him.
I mean, I love his intensity on both ends of the floor. Um, really good burst. He's got the play. He just feels like a complete NBA point guard right now, who is 18 years old barely and playing his second year against G League competition. I really don't see a way that Scoot Henderson is not a day one NBA starter.
Yeah, I agree. For I'm just gonna agree with you, and I do agree for the most part on the evaluation, just to move things along. Isaiah Moseley, think this guy's more towards a C tier, B tier. Around the Sheboy part, I think he's going to be a really good scorer next year and a really great college player, but I don't know where his career goes in the NBA. I need to see more. I'm excited to see him at Missouri, though, probably in a larger role and a better competition. Uh,
Yeah, I think he'll have
Filipowski,
a.
this is, I just want to keep moving, bro.
Yeah, let's move it.
Yeah, let's just keep moving. I don't know how much time we have, and there's guys back here that are more exciting than some of these. Filipowski is
Fair.
exciting though, a pretty complete player. I'd say he's around the Thompsons. I would even slip him up, maybe even the A tier. Um,
The defensive concerns have him lower B tier for me, but
I can get down with him above Strother. I just think the shooting's so proven.
I'll put him ahead of Kalower.
Fair enough. Tyrese
Tyrese Hunter,
Hunter, C tier. I think he's leaped in there with Leaky Black and those guys. Probably above Dylan Mitchell though.
I'm gonna put him F tier
Really?
because he's an undersized point guard and he doesn't have a great jump shot.
Fair.
And I think that if you're an undersized point guard, you either A need to be an elite facilitator, which he's good but not elite, or you need to have that jump shot developed like Trae Young did.
Yep.
And I don't think he really has either of those things. He's kind of like a Pat Bev pest type on defense, but I don't think that's enough for me to really move the needle over a lot of these bigger wings.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Ty Rogers.
Ty Rogers. This is probably around the Kalau where Damian Collins range for me. Um, really complete player, gives great effort. I like him a lot. I saw him play a little bit in the FIBA, and he just get me excited. He make high impact winning plays, and I can't hate a player that does it all. I don't know if
Definitely.
he's a one and done for Illinois, but I hope he is because I'd like to see him in an NBA uniform. And,
Kennedy Chandler vibes there.
I mean, in terms of like the
The
quality.
way, the style, not the size, but the style.
Um, yeah, I mean, on offense, he's just not really that much of a facilitator, but he can play that role.
Interesting.
He's capable, more than capable. He's kind of like a Grant Williams ish kind of guy. I think he could have that type of impact on the next level if he shows up the shooting.
All right.
Isaiah Wong,
I think he's below Sheboy, ahead of the other college guys and Dylan Mitchell for me.
I'd put
Um,
Moseley above him because I think Moseley is just a little bit bigger and he also is just a more complete package and his isolation scoring in the pick and roll.
I really love Isaiah Wong's defense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Isaiah Wong's a great player and he's gonna have a great college season. I like Mosley though. That's just my take. I'm a Mosley guy. You're a Wong guy.
That's fair. Well, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. Amari Bailey, we're gonna drop an F tier. We don't like Amari Bailey that
Yeah, he's
much.
gonna be going back next year and probably playing again in UCL.
Peyton Watson vibes.
Yeah, probably.
Although Peyton Watson went to the NBA for some reason.
Yeah, but I don't know. He should have came back. All
He
right,
should have come back.
MB. That's the S tier. I mean, if all goes well, knock on
Yeah, I
wood.
mean, knock on wood, Wemby stays healthy. There is, I mean, we don't really need to talk about Wemby because everyone knows what Wemby can do if you're a basketball fan.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, really just a once in a generation prospect, a 7'5" shot creator on offense and an elite rim protector on defense who can step on the perimeter and block jump shots.
yeah.
All right, so that's pretty much all it is. That's his upside. It's pretty ridiculous that we're talking
Yeah.
about a prospect like that, but I mean, it's just the truth. Anthony Black, for me, this is S tier. I put him above Tariq Whitehead. Honestly, I think the defensive upside's there. When you see in a league with guys like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander that needed to work on that jump shot, and that was the last thing that they needed to put together to become a complete scorer. I think that that's a reasonable comp that you can make in terms of athleticism and size. And they both came. Anthony Black's a better passer, I believe, than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I think he gives more effort on the defensive end. I just think that um, with that combination of size, skill, and athleticism, you can be a dangerous player. And when playing with other good players at Arkansas, he's gonna have a chance to shine. And as a prospect, I think it makes his ceiling really high.
I respect it.
Yep. Asar
Oh,
Thompson, I think, is
I
or
have him in A tier behind Jordan Walsh.
Walsh. Yeah, I can get there. We talked about his brother. There's more of our rating on them is more of a gripe on the overtime elite development. I mean, we saw them play
Yeah.
in the basketball tournament. And then you said, and you weren't impressed.
Yeah, well, my big thing was that I feel like they relied a lot on their athleticism,
in the OT.
and that their general mechanics, especially offensively. Defensively, I think they got by, and I think they'll get by at an NBA level. But my real issue with them is that I don't think they're there yet offensively. And my big concern is that they'll be able to jet by on this offensive athleticism and not really develop their games enough to be at an NBA level. I think Osar has more of a dribble package than Amin does, and so that's why I'm a bit higher on him. But for both of them, the jump shot is not really there yet.
No, it's definitely a doubt. It's more there with Osar in my opinion than but we'll see.
Yeah, I
Other
agree with that.
Kaluma, this is a guy I'd probably put in the B tier, um, above Strother and probably above Thompson. I mean, you
Yeah,
talk about 3 and D upside. This guy is got all of it in terms of what you want him to improve on is just the shooting, and he's got pretty much everything else to be a pretty complete wing at the next level.
yeah, I think that the real benefit about Arthur Kaluma is his off-ball ability. I think if he develops more on ball, he can move into A tier. Um, but for right now, since he's primarily at his best off ball, he's a really good cutter as well.
Yep, there's a lot of great
So
things. Uh,
yeah, B
impacts
tier for
winning.
him.
Yeah, excited.
Jarace
I'm excited to
Walker,
watch the Creighton team next year with Baylor Shireman. My boy.
yeah, bro, who
This,
Baylor gonna cook?
this is your boy.
My
Yep.
boy Jarace.
All right,
I'm very high on Jarace Walker. Um,
you're gonna put him above Nick Smith, aren't you?
if it was only me, I would put him in S tier. But since it's not only me, I'm gonna put him in A tier above Duran Holmes.
Fair enough.
I
Um,
think that
I
that's
think
where you'd
that's
put him as well.
yeah, I think that that's definitely where I'd put him. I'd put him behind Derek Whitehead. That's kind of my idea.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think he has more upside than Tariq Whitehead, because of his defense, because of
I
his
look at
length.
Derek Whitehead's jumper and I look at his jumper and I say,
I
guy,
like
that guy
the
could be a better scorer.
my thing with Jerace is I can see point forward potential,
Yeah,
and I think that's what makes me so high on him. But if we're talking about what's polished right now and where we see things developing, I think first year in the NBA, Tariq is more there than Drace, but I think if we're talking overall careers, I think Drace will be a better player.
yeah. I can get down with that to an extent. Yeah, we'll just have to see. I'm excited to see this next season. This next season, college basketball is gonna be really exciting.
Really exciting. I have a lot of really high value prospects in this upcoming
There's
draft.
enticing storylines. I mean, too. It's good stuff. There's like
Yeah, man.
there's like 40 guys in the country who really have a case for the lottery to start the process, which is great.
Yeah, that's not a frequent thing.
It's not. There's a lot of exciting recruits. Just the type of players that are coming out of high school nowadays are just much more dynamic athletes. I think the theme that we're starting to see with a lot of these top guys is it's a lot of athletes, not a lot of
Yeah.
complete basketball players, but we'll have to see. There's no Paulo Banchero in this one. Scoot might be that. Scoot might be the Paulo Banchero.
Yeah, I think Scoot has a higher upside than a guy like a Paolo Banchero, but
Yeah, for sure. I think this draft has two true superstar upsides with Scoot and Wemby, and then Cam Whitmore would be like the next five are probably your second best player on a championship team.
yeah, I agree with that. And then
And
out
multiple
here
time
you
these are
probably have
like those
very
are
good story.
multiple time all stars or all defensive team guys like for Lively and Black. And like Whitehead could be an all-star. Nick Smith, I guarantee will be an all-star at some point. He will score enough points somewhere in the NBA to get
Yeah, man.
a nod. His low end is like Colin Sexton, bro, and he's so much better than Colin Sexton.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we got 228 left on there. I think we'll wrap it up. I hope you guys like this. Like, comment what you thought. Where you would put certain guys if you agreed with some of our evaluations, some prospects that we should add for next time, or any recommendations you have for doing other tier lists. Make sure to subscribe. We're gonna be pumping out hopefully one or two YouTube videos a week. doing prospect related stuff or NBA related stuff, and we're excited to get out more content. So
Yeah, man, for sure.
yeah, and we are off the clock.